Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. For today's video, we are going to be playing with our jelly plate. I know I probably played with this thing maybe a handful of times in my life, but I do have a 8x10, I want to say, jelly plate. I have my brayer, and I have plenty of paints. So I pulled out some craft paint. These are thick body acrylic paints, so sort of like Dina Wakley, but these were on clearance at Hobby Lobby, so let's use them up a little bit. And I mostly only have cool colors and a black, and I have an older Dina Wakley. This is the gold, and it's almost dried up, so let's see if I can still get some work out of that. So this is the color palette, like, yeah, blues and purples, and then I just pulled over a couple more of pinks and purples over here to keep them working. I have my brayer. These are the things you're going to need, at least so far. I have a bunch of stencils pulled, some flowers, some geometrics. Yeah, looks to be mostly dilutions. There's a joggle one. And then I have just easy copy paper that will absorb it well. And then I have deli paper as well. And we're just going to do a bunch of prints and have them dry all around my craft room. So this is a messy process, if you don't know that. So be prepared for the mess. Not gonna lie, because you have to let everything dry, and so when they're drying, they have to be obviously on countertops and everything else, and your space will run out rather quickly. And look, I clean and take care of my stuff so well that it doesn't even look like I've even used this. I wonder what side I've used. Well, it doesn't matter. You just need one side open. I'll put this to the side. Actually, I should put that in the box. Okay, so the idea, if you've done or they call it mono printing, you put a layer of paint on it first, rub it out with the brayer. You can just do that and have just a color on it, but the idea is to lay down a stencil, put a paper on it, peel off that print, which would most likely only have the, the shape that comes through, take off the stencil, and then remove that print as well, or you can add more paint and then remove it. So there's a lot of like avenues to go, and it's truly random. You have to be happy what you get. Sometimes it's going to be a lovely, and sometimes it may be a hodgepodge mess, but you embrace the hodgepodginess, okay? And so let's get started. This is just playtime. If I have time to make a project with whatever we print, I will, but we're probably just playing in this video, and then with future videos and scrapbooking, you will probably see these prints being cut up, maybe in art journaling, or used as backgrounds in something in the future. But yeah, so this is all that it is at first, and yeah, here we go. Okay, scrappy friends, so this process, I am no expert, take that. This was all just fun playtime, and we learned a lot of things. So here I put one layer of paint, one stencil down, copy paper. I lift up that print. So now when this is lifted up, that is exposed, well, not very well in this case, but, and then I'm adding a pink paint because I've seen crafters do that and then fill in the openings with the pink paint. It didn't work out too well in that instance, but I was like, let's keep on going. That's the whole point of this. A, you have to work fast. 2, work fast. B, move on, you know what I mean? Like, and don't stall too much between layers, because the whole point is that all this paint has to stay wet. So that's why I had the pile of the deli paper is ready to go and piles of the copy paper ready to go, because as soon as you are working, it's best to get the print while everything is wet, because this is like craft paint, the ones I'm using in the smaller jars, so it will dry rather quickly, especially if it's a thin layer. The heavy body paint has a little bit more of a opening window for you to get something. So then I had the nifty idea. See, I picked up the stencil and there was paint on it from being on the side of the jelly plate, that it too could give me a print of the actual stenciling. So I thought that was pretty cool. Then this one was a try to see. I put the paint with the stencil on it and got into all of the nooks and crannies of it, and that printed out really good. So then I was like, okay, good to know. And there was still so much paint left that I did it twice, and I got 2 prints out of that attempt. So see what I mean about just learning? So now you have all these openings, and then there, take the print of that, because now it's negative space. You can also get that print from the actual stencil itself. And it just was playtime. So if you have a collection of stencils, take out, I think I played with 6 different ones, and I made sure to have repetitive geometric ones, like the triangle one, and I think there was a square one, and then I had some graphics like this number one, which was really cool to have, and I used a couple of florals. I think I had 2 florals to play with, just to give, when they are layered on top of each other, some of that depth that you may not be able to see when you have just, you know, the same kind of stencil or something. I also thought it was good that I played in the same color family. Not to say that having a red or a yellow or something wouldn't have worked with this. I was just not wanting to have the brain span to know if I was mixing brown, or if it got together and mix on paper, would it make brown? I didn't want brown on any of these papers. So my next play session will definitely be in the warm colors so that I can have a little bit of both worlds, and I think that would be fun. I did get brave though and add more paint from time to time, or pink paint, sorry, more pink paint from time to time, just to see if I would get just pops of color. So like I said, here I am just playing. I added more paint, even though I didn't get all the paint off of there. I'm sure when I pick it up after adding this purple, that image would also transfer quite nicely too. This one in particular, this one is the only one I think is from Joggles. So Joggles is another kind of mixed media art supply online retailer. They have great stuff, but I think I always purchase first, obviously, from Cherry on Top, because I am on their design team. But that one with the roses, their like outline of roses, was from that other shop I purchased there a long time ago. And honestly, I still have never used that stencil until today. You know, sometimes the, you know, I hate to say it too, the influx of how much I buy and what I create with is obviously out of whack. And if I just had, you know, only, you know, 6 stencils to use, of course they would get utilized all the time. But because I have 20, you know, some of them get lost in the mix, and that is terrible to admit, but I have a shopping problem. So like you can see, and so also the key to getting the layers, you see how I have all of them like readily right there on the left. I'm like, okay, this one has blues and pinks. I can add this one that has a little bit more aqua turquoise. Let's add that. I tried to vary up the color combinations so that, you know, I didn't print the light purple on light purple, you know what I mean? And so I had all of them just kind of right there, ready to go. And this took over my whole craft room. Like I had both my desks covered, I had my counters in the back, and then when I ran out of counter and desk space, they were all over my floor. And I made quite a stash of these, and so I really am. I'm looking forward to still do it with the pinks and the reds and the, you know, the warmer tones, just to have like both in my collection. That way I can grab for these on quicker projects, because this was fun, guys. This was really, really fun. A little random, and don't get me wrong, if you are not comfortable with randomness, if you are a little OCD and don't like not getting, you know, the same print twice, this is probably going to drive you batty. The whole point is almost like, think of it like creative chaos. That's a theme for September for Cherry on Top. Like, it's just, you get what you get and you don't get upset, as my toddler tells me. That's this, you know, little school chant they do. You know, you get what you get and you don't get upset. This is not for the faint of heart. Like, no 2 things are ever going to be the same. Even if you do the same step, it will get a variation, and that is the beauty in this Gelli printing. So get yourself some wax paper, the deli paper. I got mine simply on, honestly, this was a box I got on Amazon. It probably has, I don't know, 1,000 sheets in it. I bought this many, many years ago, and I even use this paper as like to cover my desk when my toddler paints. I still have plenty, and, you know, and I made 10 prints or something right now. Deli paper is great. Also, it's thin, so like collage paper, it's almost like a tissue paper, so it will melt into the paper when you use it as backgrounds. The copy paper is a little bit thicker, but still on the lighter side, because it's not cardstock or anything, so it can be ripped, it can be manipulated, collage, and not bulk up your, you know, journals too much. And so I keep on playing. This is what I'm doing. So you can see like how I did all the variations. I put the stamp, and you can see how the stencils get dirty. They're dirty, and sometimes you get a little bit of a residue, like that one had blue on it already. Sometimes there's still blue coming off on your print. That is beautiful, you know. And don't get me wrong, these, I will say what I learned now, like some of this paint did dry on my stencils. If that bothers you, this is probably also an added technique for you. What I should have had, if you do this, maybe like a little basin slash, you know, I forgot how they say they do it, like Tim and Dina have like a little basin, they call it, of water, where they can just throw their stamps in it, because if it goes into water immediately, it has less likelihood of staying on your stencils. I tried scrubbing off most of it. Some of it came off, some of it didn't. And I'm okay with that, because once it's dried, it's not like the blue is going to come up on a future project now that I have it away in my, you know, stash again. It's just a stained stencil, and they still work. And at least for me, a stained stencil is proof that I use it, which I can get down with, you know, I can get down with. And that was the whole journey process with this. So when it's, you know, blank, after you get all the bits, now you get, you know, what color combination do you want to do next? It's the fun of the whole thing. Even with the brayer has paint on it as well. Sometimes, oh, and this was totally a mess up. That dropped out because the nose was clogged. But I'm like, you know, let me just sop up some of it and roll out the rest. You know, these mistakes happen for me. You know, I love that theme, actually, from Sharon. Like, it's creative chaos. Like, it does no rhyme or reason. Yeah, it's just, that is the beautiful process. Sorry, I'm, like, reflecting as I'm talking with you about my voiceover. Like, it's just fun. It's fun. You get to be playful right now and, you know, zone out. I think this whole process, my footage was like 40 minutes long of doing this, because I had it going on the side, and then I would let a few dry. Oh, this one was a new stencil that I was just like, you know what, I haven't used this one yet. Let's add the raindrop one. So I added more stencils to the mix and just kept on going. I think all that I remembered was always apply paint, stencil, print, and then once I remove stencil, print again. And these were the different combinations I got. Because then once I picked that up, you know, then it was like, oh, I can still print off the stencil. And then that's all muddy and gorgeous and random. And let me just get a print of it. And I got some, and then some came off, and not all of it. And that was pretty. And let's just add more paint to that. I just played with my jelly plate. And made a lot of mono printings, but like layered printings too. Yeah, that was fun. Stop it. Look what I did. Okay, so they've all dried. I let them be overnight. And so this one I honestly already used in a project that you should see on Instagram. So this is the scrap after I used part of it, and it's still good. This is still great texture and paint and colors to use on a future project. So the ones that came out on copy paper are these. And you can see all the multi-stenciling that really works. This is like one of my favorites, because some of it's also like just the imperfect of it all, like when you stamp it off of the stencil, and that gives it character. It really, really does. So these will be on future projects. This one was just two stencils. You can see it's like the negative of one print and then the negative of another, and then I just left that one. So really cool on copy paper. And then the ones on deli paper are just as cool, because I was able to get it like, you know, this was it one side, and then on the other one I printed it off there. So you can almost print like 2 prints per deli paper. And then just all of the layers. So even for this one, you can see like I got like a very faint print there, but then I did the numbers here. Then it was like the triangle one there, and then I did the circles right on top. So you can kind of see the layers as they are added on top. So just really cool. I highly recommend doing some jelly printing. I'll have these, like I said, in projects. They'll go in my memory planning too. Memory planning and my, you know, normal scrapbooking layouts and some mixed media stuff. So it's a fun activity. And you saw, I put a little clip of me showing it on Instagram that they had to dry out like everywhere, on the floor, on both my desks. It was what it was for the play session. And look how cool this one is too. Oh, some of it's getting a little wrinkled, but hey, that also adds texture. And then I was at the last one. I was like, that's nothing really. So I hope you are inspired to get out your jelly plate and play. Thank you so much for joining me. Please subscribe if you haven't done so. Give this video a thumbs up. And until next time, everyone, bye.